Hey, this bad boy is dropping right now. Obviously, you're watching it, so you need to go and subscribe, like, comment, whatever. And we're going to read your comments, by the way. You go to youtube.com/@sign. Don't at me with Dan Dakich. And let's get the subscribers going, the likes, the comments. We're going to read a bunch of comments from over the weekend coming up here in a little bit. USA from bars all across this great country, whether it was an unbelievable celebration in Huntington Beach all the way up to Baston and other places in between. It was fantastic. A one-timer, I don't know if that's true or not, by Jack Hughes, won it for the United States in double overtime. We ended up playing 3-on-3, and I got to tell you, I don't give a damn if they played with gerbils. It was a great ending because the United States won. The United States won against the hated Canadians, and all hell has broken loose because liberals, well, they hate this. They hate America. They hate fun. They hate everything when it becomes obvious we don't need them. And nobody needs them. But the game first, politics second. The game was awesome, man. The game, Carson Hellenbach standing on his head, 41 out of 42 saves, and it was unbelievable, some of the saves that he made. It was incredible. Sticking his stick out, boom, boom, boom. McDavid, breakaway, boom. He stood on his head, and he kicked that ass. Yo, I got to tell you, if you didn't like it, if you didn't cry, you suck. And I'm going to get into all the reasons that you had to cry. But anyway, it was 46 years ago. Nobody on this staff was there. It was my junior year in high school, one of the greatest, if not the greatest non-children years of my life. I had heard, this is how it was then, I had heard earlier in the day that the United States had won. And I'm sad. But we all went to Mark Holcomb's house in his basement. United States wins. We run out. We were out of our mind like high school kids. Dude, that was 1980. Seems like yesterday, swear to God. And we weren't high school kids that sat around drinking beer. We were high school kids that would go play basketball and go to somebody's house and watch something or play Triple E or whatever. But that night, it was all about Mike Eruzione and the boys of Herb Brooks. And yesterday morning, it was the exact same thing. Here is Jack Hughes, the 21-year-old stud who lost a couple of his teeth. The Michigan man. I'm up on Michigan now. Hell with this. Go blue. Anyway, the Michigan man giving one of the great post-game interviews of all time. And I got more when we come. You're going to see there's some good stuff here. Go ahead.
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we have so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today. This
was such an incredible game to grind out. I mean, you're bleeding right through it just looking at you right now. Can you just talk about how difficult this gold medal was to win?
Unbelievable game by Hellebuck. He was our best player tonight by a mile. Unbelievable game. Unreal game by our team. That's just a ballsy, gutsy win. That's American hockey right there. That's a great Canadian team, but we're USA. We're so proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country.
What does this gold medal mean to USA Hockey?
It's everything. Like I said, the USA Hockey Brotherhood means so much. Look at these guys. We're such a team. We've been together for 2 weeks. We're such a team. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we're so proud to win for our country.
I'm going to cry during this alert. I got goosebumps. I just love this kind of stuff. I just love the fact my only regret as a player, well, I got a bunch, but one of them was I never played on a USA team and was never captain of a USA team. Damn, I wish I had been. I really do. That was one of my life's dreams, was to be a captain on a USA team. And I love this stuff, and so do you. So do we all, except you freaking idiots on the U.S. women's national team and all you freaking liberals. We'll get to that right now. Lexi Lawless, who is a stud soccer player, he offered some sound advice for the men's and women's U.S. soccer teams ahead of hosting the World Cup this summer. He did, and this is good advice. Here it is. I hope the U.S. men's national team, the U.S. women's national team players are watching and take genuine love, respect, and appreciation for our country, or lack of will manifest on the field. That's right. You don't bring negative energy. The game rewards. It just does. Now, it doesn't reward if you're an untalented boob trying to play, but if talent is equal, the game will reward karma, will reward love of game. It will. It just does. Win, lose, people want to be inspired, united, and proud. Celebrating your country is beautiful and fun, and it's also smart. Let me go to that just for a second. We saw it with Hunter Hess, the jackass skier, who finished 10th, by the way, who got on stage to start the Olympics and told us all basically, yeah, you know what, I'm not sure about representing America, blah, blah. He was catering to the vocal minority. And he learned very quickly. He learned very, very quickly that you don't F around with the American sports fan during the Olympics or any patriotic type USA team event. You don't. You think you are because the vocal minority of fat, ridiculous school teachers in Chicago are loud. The purple-haired douchebag is loud. The Bill Plaschkes, the Greg Doyles, the Dan Wolkins, the woke little columnists are loud. But that doesn't represent anybody, real people in the United States. That represents that little group, that little minorities group. The majority of us want to see our country succeed. As Lexi Lawless said, we want to see and be inspired by these young athletes taking it to other countries. We live through them. That's how this works. And when we see them being little pansy-ass bitches like this Hunter Hess and others, we get rid of you. We eliminate you. Now, we want you to go out and kick the living crap out of them like our forefathers did in wars, in battle, long time ago. Now, you may disagree with that. Again, you would be in the vocal minority. Very vocal, very loud. Hess found out. Now, there are still those douchebags that are complaining, and you know who they are. I've told you at this point, Jamel Hill, you just laugh at her racist dumbass. You just do. I mean, I'm sorry, you just do. Here's a great picture coming up right here. In a world full of Megan Rapinos, be a Jack Hughes. This is a great picture. Now, somebody's going to say, well, Megan Rapinoe has the right. That's what makes America. You're right. She does. And I have the right to call her a disloyal twat. That's exactly. I hope they don't bleep that out because that's the perfect word for her. An entitled and spoiled twat. If that's a bad word, suck it, because that's a truthful word. That's the only way to describe her. You know, the angry lesbian that's going to get mad at you and say we're canceling you, or the angry person, whether the angry DEI hire or the angry liberal white columnist that's going to that's out. That's done. In fact, I'm begging damn near our little columnist here, call me everything you want. Go get anonymous sources, because you're out. Only makes you look better when douchebags don't want to be like you. And Megan Rapinoe would have no interest in being like Jack Hughes. Now, some are saying, well, Jack Hughes supported the LG. Good. Ain't got no problem with somebody that has views. Good for them. But you know what? He didn't take those onto the ice, did he? He didn't take those on to representing our country, did he? Absolutely not. What he did was go out and ball, wrap himself in the flag, the land of opportunity, and espouse those views brilliantly, all while getting his freaking teeth knocked in. Literally broken. Literally blood on the ice. Literally something that not one NBA player would ever think about playing with. Not one world women's national team lesbian would ever think about playing. A straight girl might. Not one of these little douchebag Hunter Hesses of the world or the men's national team bitching, whining, and moaning might. No, they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. No, that dude, the whole thing hit perfect. And I got to tell you something else. I love this next part. I love the fact that Kash Patel was right there, drinking beers, celebrating. Somebody said, well, there was a breach at Mar-a-Lago. Guy was shot and murdered, or killed, that tried to kill Trump. And here's Patel drinking beers. That's exactly the American way. Do your goddamn job. Do it like a fucking warrior. I owe $2. And then go have a beer after. Go to Gary, Indiana back in the day. I never knew this. 7:30 in the morning, I would drive by Nickel Plate Bar on my way to go work at IUN, Indiana University Northwest campus. And I'd drive by the bar, and the bar was packed. 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever shift it was, midnight's third shift, guys go in. That's what you do. You go kick ass on the job, and then you go have a beer. And then here's the other deal. If it's really a big day, you sing. Hell yeah, I sing every morning. Here's a little bit of the United States singing. Courtesy. Red, white, and blue, baby. Toby Keith. Let's hear it.
Courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
My bad. That was Lee Greenwood. What's wrong with me? That's one of my favorite songs. Came out after 9/11. There they are, man. How cool is that? And I got goosebumps right now, right this moment, and it got even better. It did. It got better, man. It got better because you know what? That was Toby Keith? I thought that was Lee Greenwood. All right. Anyway, it got better. The children of one of their brothers, two brothers got killed right before their sister's wedding about a year ago or whenever it was. They got killed by a drunk driver. And that drunk driver ruined the hopes and dreams of two people, the Gaudreau family. Johnny Gaudreau was going to be a member of this hockey team. Johnny Gaudreau's jersey was proudly displayed in the locker room, in the hotel, in all the meeting room of USA Hockey. United States hockey team won the game. United States hockey team won the gold medal. This is how awesome United States hockey players are. They went and got Johnny Gaudreau's two kids, and they brought them into and onto the ice. You see it there. And they took one of the great – I'm going to cry because I love when this stuff happens. I do. I love it. I'm a gruff, swearing, cussing, whatever, but I love this stuff. This stuff is awesome to me. This is the best picture I've ever seen. Anyway, they brought the two kids and put them in the picture. And they didn't bring them as a prop. They brought them out of respect. I heard Johnny Gaudreau's sister talking this morning on Fox and Friends, and what that meant to the entire family is indescribable. I think that was her word exactly. And to have the presence of mind, the caring, the foresight, the brotherhood to do this is exceptional. No pointing their chest. Let me ask you a question. Did anybody point to the back of their shirt like the idiots on the Colts do? No. Did anybody go run down to the end and make some celebratory dance like the idiots in the NFL and college? No. Now, this is all about team. This is all about America. This is all about a brotherhood. And that is a hell of a lesson. That is something, I don't give a damn what walk of life you are in. I don't give a damn if you're in broadcasting. I don't give a damn if you're in sports. I don't give a damn if you're in business. This was awesome. My wife and I literally sat in our hotel room before we left. They were playing as they were raising on the podium the Star Spangled Banner. I took off my hat. I'm going to cry. I took off my hat in the hotel room, my wife and I, and sang. sang the Star Spangled Banner, and I got to tell you, there was no one else in the room. I had a meeting earlier in the morning at 9 o'clock, so I didn't get to see the part of the game. I saw the beginning and I saw the end. But the truth of the matter is, we went back to the room after because we wanted to be alone, watch it without people around, and I cried. And it felt like if I sat down in my hotel room during the anthem, when they were having the award ceremony, when they were having the medal ceremony, I would have been dead wrong. If I'd have wore my hat, if I'd have gone to take a shower, I would have felt dead wrong. Now, I'm not saying everybody had to feel that way, but that's the way I felt. That's the impact that picture, that group, that morning had on me and my wife. It wasn't for anybody. We didn't videotape us. We just sat, hand over heart, hat off, let's go. That's cool, man. That's cool. We'd had a very disappointing loss before, my son's team. But you know what? That was, perfect for me and us and America. Maybe the funniest moments, depending on which side you're on, is the losing team being handed a stuffed animal moments after losing. And I guess letting their country down. I mean, we were watching that going, what the hell is this? Yeah, get yourself a stuffed animal. All right. Lastly, my good friend Mike Tirico elevated himself beyond anything that he even could imagine. I wish I'd have sent this picture. I'll send it for last thing. But I wish I could have sent everybody this picture. Mike and I worked together, 5 years maybe, on the road. And because Mike lived in Detroit, and they asked us, we did the Horizon League final and then got in a car and drove down to Indianapolis to start doing the Big Ten game, Big Ten tournament. Me, Mike Tirico, and our producer, Bart Fox. I drove. Mike was in the back. Foxy was in the front. And we did it because Mike likes to do games. Mike's like, hey, you want to do the Horizon? Oh, yeah, what the hell? So they let our group go. And Mike gave that game, that Horizon League championship game, the same effort he gave the Super Bowl, the same effort he gave the Olympics, because that's what Mike does. I've worked with the most unbelievable broadcasters ever. Dave Fleming, play-by-play of the Giants, San Francisco Giants, and ESPN. My boy Obi does all the Red Sox stuff. Dave O'Brien and ESPN. Jason Benetti, who's the next guy. I'll get to that in a second. And Mike Tirico. All great. None better than the other. But Tirico elevated himself. And just when I thought Mike couldn't get any better, just when we're all on a group text still to this day, just when I didn't think Mike Tirico could get any better, he delivered this. Give a listen.
Because of a drought that almost lasted the half century, those teams are revered. They are held on to forever. And what happened today doesn't take away from the greatness of those teams or the meaning that those teams have in U.S. hockey. But what you saw today was the build of a generation, inspired perhaps by that team that lost in 2010 in Vancouver to the Sidney Crosby golden goal in overtime. Or the team where TJ Oshie had all those shootout goals in 2014. That's when these guys were doing what you're doing, watching on TV. And they were young, and they were living the dream. So for all the young people out there, not just the hockey, but all the Olympics you've watched, those dreams are formed now. Go chase them and go get them. Because our country loves sports, and it brings us together unlike anything else. And if you didn't know that, and if you haven't been watching the last 2 weeks, you saw it in Team USA Hockey, winning the gold over their arch rival Canada here in Milan to wrap up these 25th Olympic Winter Games.
Yeah, that's so good, and that was off the cuff. I guarantee when we play golf this summer, he's going to – I don't know if we can anymore because he's become a mega star, but I guarantee he's going to say, yeah, man, I had like 2 minutes to come up with that. But anybody that knows Mike Tirico understands that he absolutely could nail that without anything written on a tablet, without anything written on a prompter, anything written on a phone, nothing. And you talk about the perfect guy to be hosting on the perfect night, afternoon, morning, whatever the hell it was there. That was Mike Tirico. And again, Again, he handled that perfectly. And all of us that worked with him, we're patting each other on the back, saying, we got to work with that guy. The next guy's Jason Benetti. It's coming for Jason. It is coming for him and coming quickly. Hey, you enjoying the show? Of course you are. Told you earlier. Like, comment, and subscribe. YouTube.com/@ don't at me with Dan Dakich. If you like, comment, and subscribe, chances are, particularly if you comment, we'll read your comments tomorrow. We're going to read this weekend's today. Hey, this segment is brought to you by the Outkick's Ultimate College Hoop Experience. Listen to this. It's the biggest night in college hoops, and it's coming back to Indianapolis. Outkick is sending one lucky fan and a guest straight into the building. Right here, we got you covered on an unforgettable experience. Flights covered, downtown hotel covered, 2 championship tickets covered. Just go to Outkick.com/sweepstakes and get in on all of the action. It was an unbelievable weekend of college hoops. Number 1, Michigan delivered big time. I mean, big time. It was everything you want for a neutral site. It was a Final Four environment. It had a game that was awesome. Duke got and moves to number 1, in my opinion. Maybe. Duke got Michigan, and that ain't easy to do. It's only Michigan's second loss in a row. And Cam Boozer, son of what's-his-face, Carlos Boozer, was phenomenal. And, afterwards, some of the Michigan players said this is the best defense we've seen. Nobody plays defense like this in the Big Ten. And, that's always been an underrated factor of Duke basketball. Duke basketball can stymie you. And this team, which is basically rebuilt, after the whole Cooper Flag, Final Four team, all that, this is rebuilt. This team is fantastic defensively. Look, John Shire, I talked about him last week. I thought he lied, and I know he must have because nobody's ever seen any evidence of the punch from the North Carolina fan into the bloody face or whatever of the Duke staff member, but John Shire and coach. John Shire and his staff had their team ready. One of the things that they were able to do, and this is not always an easy thing, you think it is, but one of the things they were able to do is, well, it's not easy at all, is get in the stance to keep the basketball in front of them. Now, next time you watch basketball, watch this. Watch which team can keep the ball in front of them, meaning I'm guarding you, I've got you locked up so that others don't have to help. And it's really difficult in modern basketball because there's a variety of things. There's handoffs, there's pin downs, there's doubles and another double, there's slips, pop-out. A lot of good offense was in that game, and frankly, nobody runs better offense than Michigan's Dusty May. But Duke was able to keep the basketball in front of them. And when you do, you don't give up the backboard. All of a sudden, people can stay home and you're not rotating. And next thing you know, a big guy. And Cam Boozer, boy, did he ball. I got to give that kid a ton of credit. He's one of my favorite players. Again, people ask me all the time, hey, man, who's going number 1, number 2, number 3 in the draft? I don't know. I don't know where Cam Boozer is as a pro. But I know this. That dude can play. Pro game different. And you can win a national championship even with Cam Boozer as a freshman. It's a lot of fun. Arizona took down Houston in Arizona, and they were shorthand, missing two of their best players. A common thing for Calvin Sampson's team is to go cold. They had one stretch in the middle of the second half. It was 12 straight shots, and it allowed Arizona to go on a run and get the game a little bit under control. Shout out to whoever the play-by-play radio guy is for Houston basketball. It's the hardest job in broadcasting. Elvin Hayes is his guy that is his analyst. Elvin Hayes, a legendary player. You can make an argument, top 15 player in the history of the NBA, Houston grad. He's 80 years old, and he offers nothing. And this guy has to work so damn hard. And Elvin Hayes' thing is, wow. And I'm not besmirching Elvin Hayes. He has earned to do anything he wants. But that is a hard job. And I listened to it as we were driving to the Illinois State game, and damn. But Houston, this is always a problem with them. And you know what? They've never really gotten that fixed. Doesn't mean they can't be successful. Come on, they are. One of the favorites to go to the Final Four. But shout out Tommy Lloyd. It wasn't so long ago, last year, end of the year, that the Arizona fans were a little bit itchy with Lloyd. He had to rebuild his team. He did. And he did it without their star freshman, that Poe kid, who is out. That's pretty good, man. I mean, to beat Houston in Houston is one thing. To beat them without one of your best, if not your best players, is another thing. All right, all you jackasses out there, Mick Cronin lost the locker room. The level of stupid in the college basketball media is only matched by the level of talking during games by college basketball media. They won't shut up. I heard all these little pencil neck, never played, never coached wonks say, well, he's lost his locker room. Shut up. It's so much deeper than one thing, a locker room. Well, sure looked like it for a minute, and Old Takes exposed, boy, oh boy, they got themselves a hell of a freaking list to put out of media guys. Why? Because Illinois was up 23, 9-some to go in the first half. And all the little media dorks were out, man. Lost his locker room. He'll never recover from that Jameson thing. Oops. Next thing you know, we'll have Tim Brando on tomorrow to talk about it. He called the game. But next thing you know, guess who won? Let me look. UCLA got it done. Lost your locker room. Shut up. You go into Illinois, whatever they call it. I call it Assembly Hall. Maybe it's the State Farm Center. You know what? You go in there, hard to play. And if you don't shoot the ball well, really hard to play. And Illinois is one of the 3-5 best teams in the country. You get down, so what? Long game. They came back. Shut up, all you college basketball media. Y'all suck. Hey, my first pick in the draft, A.J. Debonsta, whatever the hell his name is. He had 29. I turned that game on late. You know what I saw? He competes. Like, if you're going to be a great player in any sport or great whatever, you got to compete and you got to prepare. And you got to be a killer. It's got to be all the time. And this kid seems like that. Now, before I draft anybody, I'm doing a deep dive, as the little girls say, here at the Indy Star when they're trying to figure out how to sell magazines or newspapers or whatever the hell they sell. Magazines. Anyway, a deep dive into the psychology of all these players. And this is the psychology that I want to know. I hear all these guys on TV. Well, it's psychology. Yeah, well, nobody ever says what it is. I'm going to tell you the psychology. Do you want to be a killer? Are you a killer? And then, most importantly, will you work to be a killer? Hey, I want to know if you want to be a killer. What's a killer, man? Out. Next guy in. I want a guy that wants to be a killer. I want a guy that understands. I want a guy that's going to work like crazy to be a killer. And this AJ kid looks like he's the one. Now, speaking of unkillers, man, when Dick Vitale criticizes you know got a problem. He's calling for a divorce between Bill Self, Kansas, and Darren Peterson. Here's a friend of mine. This was amazing to me. I did not think about this, and I'm not going to give the guy's name because you would know his name, and if he wanted his name, he would tweet it out there. A friend of mine asked me, he said, how come nobody talks about Darren Peterson fixing games? We've talked about him not playing. We've talked about Self. It's a headache for Self. We've talked about Self. The coach hasn't handled this very well, at least seemingly. But why hasn't anybody talked about fixing games? Let me tell you something. They played the other day, and they got absolutely obliterated at the end of the game. Now, remember, at the end of the game with Cincinnati was going back and forth. All of a sudden, boom, I think the kid had 10 points. Now, if you're supposed to be a pick and this is a big game and you're making a comeback, 10 points, this kid has taken himself out of big games. Took himself out after he got it to a comfortable margin against Oklahoma State. That, ladies and gentlemen, what I just described in all these scenarios is classic, at least from the external, I'm fixing games type behavior. We got our team to a certain point. We're not supposed to win by that much. I'm getting out. That's how this works. It's exactly how it worked when Toledo's players, both Villegas and Triplett, fixed the game against us at Bowling Green. They got up 18. It was too many. They weren't supposed to win by that. They were killing us. They were balling. Next thing you know, we won. I'm telling you, this is how it works. You take yourself out, really? You play in a game, you're a heavy favorite against Cincinnati, and you get blown out at the end? No, I will tell you this, and this is how I look at it in this modern era. When things don't look right, whether it's an officiating call, a missed tackle, a strikeout, whatever. A kid not playing, I look at, are you fixing? And I got to tell you, at one point, that would have been blasphemous. At one point, that would have been, oh, my God, you're insane. Oh, my God, you're nuts. How could you? How could you say? Now it's what I think. It's absolutely what I think. And if you're going to ask me, is he fixing? I'm going to say no, gun to head. But if you're going to ask me, should they look into it? I would say 1,000, you got to look into it. Who's he talking to? Who's his parents talking to? Who's he communicating with? And if this offends, then fine. But you must look at this in the modern era. No different than referees. Maybe a manager. Maybe a coach. But look at self, too. Why is he allowing this? When is he allowing this? I'm not saying anybody is. I'm not saying anybody isn't. I'm not. It's like my sister, the prosecutor. Believe the evidence. And the evidence tells me taking yourself out, not playing in certain situations, playing only a few minutes in situations. When you finally played, your team got upset. I don't know. I would look at it. 1,000% I would look at it, and I would not think twice. Here's some reaction from you all. This is some reaction to our last video that went out about this very thing on Darren Peterson. This is from James Gaffney, 3872. Hey, Dan, Bill Self is such a huge part of the problem. All this mess started with Calipari, Patino, John Thompson, all kissing the asses of these players, letting them get away with everything. Well, James, I would say this. You're right on the second half. You're absolutely wrong on the Patino, John Thompson, and Calipari. Those guys are as hard on players as anybody ever has been. Those guys are more demanding on players than anybody has been. And I would ask you, last time you heard of a Calipari player getting in trouble with the law? Now, Patino's whole team had a little problem, but when's the last time you heard a St. John's player having a problem with the law? When's the last time you heard a Georgetown player? You did. You didn't. I'm sorry, you did. No. Your point is well taken, letting kids get away with anything, 18 to 23-year-olds, acquiescing to 18 to 23-year-olds at their whim. That's fine. All right? But the truth of the matter is you use the wrong guys. Because those guys, regardless of what you think, I understand. People think, well, these guys are slick. People think, well, these guys let people do. No. These guys are demanding. You play for Patino, I was surprised the players had enough time to have a party with some strippers, as hard as he works of them. But to your point, Self, maybe. Jared Garrison, I don't blame Peterson one bit. Not one. I actually envy what he's able to do. Last I checked, University of Kansas, head basketball coach, athletic boosters, athletic director, university president. If any of those individuals, who I'm sure are each a grown adult, have an issue with what Peterson is doing, then they need to take action against us, but not a single one of them will cause, because they know they need the kid to win. Yeah, it's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. I mean, that's the way the world works now, though. We let kids do whatever the hell they want. And you're right about the whole, you've covered your bases pretty well here. As I said, Jared Garrison, you have. Why should it be up to the coach, the athletic director, to get a paid professional like Darren Peterson to do what he's paid to do? Why is that up to anybody other than the paid professional? I mean, what I think should be done is they should take all his NIL money, let him go over to wherever he needs to go over, and we'll see it. But you're right. They think they need him to win, but how's that worked out? No. Once you are paid, and I felt like, and I will say this to anybody that wants to get mad at me, I know I was paid as a player at Indiana. Not anything other than a scholarship, room, board, books, tuition, and fees. But I sure the hell didn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning in the summer like my brother did to go work at Scott Ladd's Foods warehouse or in the steel mills to pay for my education. That's pretty damn good payment to me. But now these guys are making millions of dollars. Peterson, I'm sure, is. If you can't go work, if you can't go earn the money that you're paid, you should be able to be fired and that money gone. But you're right on the second part. Again, as I said, you covered your bases pretty good. Second part, they know they need him to win. That's the only reason that clown is still there. But I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at whether he's fixing or not. Dan, Brad Brunell, Buzz Williams, Travis Steele would have been better head coaches hires for Indiana than Devin DeFries. Ian Gitchell, Ian's a good listener. Brad Brunell is no good. What does Brad Brunell do? He had 1 year, went to the Elite Eight. He's been at Clemson 100 years. I mean, I remember when he was at Wright State and I was at Bowling Green, I had half a team. It beat his ass, a team that was left to him by Paul Biancardi that went to the NCAA tournament. Brunell's a good coach, but there's nothing in his resume that says he should be hired to do anything in Indiana but be a manager. And he's kind of arrogant. About what? I have no idea. Who's the other guy? Buzz Williams? No. If we have to listen, I said this at the time, if we had to listen to Buzz Williams spout his Tom Crean-ish bullshit, we would have stopped attending games and protest. How's Buzz doing in the Big Ten? Big Ten's a different breed. Travis Steele? No. No, maybe now, but not then. Hell no. He just got fired by the biggest dick in college athletics, a man named, I forget his first name, Christopher. He was the athletic director at Bowling Green. Every single human being that's ever been around Greg Christopher has hated him, allegedly, that worked for him or with him. If you ask the entire town of Bowling Green, I'm not even going to say Manson or Christopher, whatever his name is, they'd take Manson in a second. So no. I mean, you could say somebody else should have been hired, Dusty May, if you'd like, but not these three guys. I love Travis. You know I love Travis, but not then. Now, maybe 26 in a row. Ooh, got Indiana background. Ooh. But Buzz Peterson, no thank you. And Brad Brunell puts you to sleep. We'll be right back.
The biggest night in college hoops
is coming back to Indianapolis.
One lucky fan and a guest straight into the building.
Flight covered.
Hotel
covered. Your 2 championship tickets
covered. Go to Outkick.com/sweepstakes.
Get in on all the action. Hey, shoot your shot right now with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineups. Man, that's pretty nice. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, every board that much more exciting. So don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Prize Picks is simple to play. Pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection. If you get your picks right, you cash in. Pick from all your favorite sports, anything from hoops to baseball, hockey, UFC, soccer, college basketball, golf, tennis, esports, and more. Find your community on Prize Picks. With the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends, copy lineups from winners with a single clip. Copy lineups you like, use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us. Tailor-fade our picks with just one click. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code DAKICH. Get 50 in lineups. After you play your first $5 lineup, it's code DAKICH. Get 50 in lineups after you play your first $5. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Let's bring the fellas in here. Stock up, stock down, ladies and gentlemen. We had a really, really big weekend. I'll lead it off, and then I want to get your two guys' thoughts on this massive stock up. USA men's and women, they both win the gold. They both defeated Canada. They both won in overtime, and they both did it in the gold medal match. Sean, what are you thinking? Give it to me, baby.
I think that in America now, baseball and basketball better watch out because hockey's our fourth sport. It's our fourth biggest. Baseball better watch out. Basketball better watch out because in the last 2 years, we've seen 2 gold medals and we saw that awesome 4 nations face-off that basketball is trying to copy with these international tournaments, the NBA Cup, trying to replicate what hockey's doing, our fourth best. I think it's on the rise. I think hockey touches a place for like the median American that these other sports aren't touching anymore. It's hard. It's gritty. They play fast. They fight. The patriotism was off the charts this year. If I'm basketball or baseball, I'm getting my act together.
Davey.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about the NBA, and I'm indifferent to the MLB. Hockey's number 2 for me, Dan. I love the NHL. You're looking at a back-to-back NHL fantasy hockey champion in your all's presence right now. I'm going for the three-peat. I want to take a quick second. I don't think people realize when overtime started and the USA was going up against Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Cal McCarr. That's like prime Kobe, Shaq, and Steve Nash in the 2000s. And if they get the ball first and they score, they win. The USA found a way to stop them. I loved it. When you look at the players individually, Canada has the better players, but we were the better team when it was all said and done yesterday. Fantastic. Shout out to the Hughes family. A lot of people don't know this. Jack and Quinn obviously were playing for the U.S. Their mother was the player development coach for the women's national team, got a gold medal, taught them to skate. His brother is still coming up. All three of the Hughes brothers, top 10 picks in the NHL entry draft. Fantastic family story. Absolutely loved it, Dan. Cannot be happier for that group.
A couple of thoughts. One, I find hockey, I played it. I love playing it. I went to a Blackhawks game. Everybody told me I got to go. I had the best seats in the house. I left in the second quarter. I find it impossibly boring. And I don't know, everybody says playoff hockey's the greatest. Well, I'm old. I get it. I will watch third period. I will watch second halves. But if hockey gets into number 3, I'll be shocked. Second thing, you mentioned the Hughes family, Davey. Here's what I saw. Hockey players look like normal people. Like they look like kids. You know, they're not big beefed up guys like baseball players. Hockey players, just these guys in particular, these guys look like little kids. He's 21 years old, got his face bashed in just like the little brother on the playground. You know what I mean? I mean, that made it all good. I hope you're right, Sean. I would love to like hockey. And I watched it as a kid. I can still sing the Blackhawks song, Here Come the Hawks, the Mighty Black. But I find it impossibly boring. I get the theory. They skate hard. Yeah, I get it. They skate hard. They fight. They fight like once every 3 games. And the puck gets cleared. Nobody scores. I get bored with it. I do. Everybody's different. 350 million people on the earth. We all got. I find it impossibly boring. I'm sorry. I do. I wish I didn't. I do. Alyssa Liu is the absolute anti Eileen Gook or Guck or whatever the hell her name is. Goo, I'm sorry. That'll get me in trouble because I mispronounced her name. Somebody will shoot me and shoot me down. He said that word, but apologies for that. But anyway, Goo is her name, and she's a pain in the ass. And Alyssa Liu, I thought, and I will say this, Sean, weirdly, I've always loved figure skating in the Olympics. I've never watched a figure skating event outside the Olympics, but I can go back to Peggy Fleming, Dorothy Hamill and her haircut. Don't get me started on Christy Yamaguchi. So I loved what this lady Lou did. I loved her. I thought she brought fun. She sang the world's worstest song, MacArthur Park, a disco theme from the 70s, which somehow people are saying has connotations to beating the Chinese. I don't know. But Davey, I'm digging it. She brings fun, and it felt like a party on ice. And that Goo lady can suck it.
Yeah, Dan, I mean, this is a situation where you look at China over the last several years, they've tried to recruit people that have a family member, a parent that is of a Chinese descent from the country, and her family said, no, we're sticking, the USA gave us our shot. Her father was a refugee escaping after the Tiananmen Square protests, and it's crazy because Eileen Gu also grew up in the San Francisco area, so you kind of see the compare and contrast of, staying loyal to the country that ultimately gave you a chance. And the thing is with like Eileen Gu, like she's good enough to be on the U.S. team. This isn't like, oh, you're not good enough, so you go play where someone will actually let you. But credit to Alyssa going out there, representing the country. Great to see it.
Yeah, I thought she was awesome. What do you got, Sean?
I tried to put everybody on last Wednesday to Alyssa Liu, and the YouTube chat, carved me up and said, "Oh, you're a big fat monster. What do you talk about figure skating for? What are you doing? You're a loser."
Who did? Did I?
The chat did.
No,
you were fine, Dan.
Oh.
But the chat was letting me have it. I was trying to tell them that this girl was going to go out there and kill it, and she killed it. It was the first time in forever I actually cared about an athlete, a singular athlete winning gold. Maybe go back to Phelps for me, where it mattered. This one mattered. I was happy about it.
If you don't bring a victory cigar Wednesday night, we're throwing hands. You got to sit back. You got to bring a victory cigar. You got to bask in the glory. Are you kidding me? There will be some basking come Wednesday night. I'll smoke one for you because you absolutely did. I did not know who that was because, as I said, I've never watched. My mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, used to love it. So if it was on like a Saturday afternoon or whatever in the winter, I would watch it with her. But never. But the Olympics, I watched. Stock down. Look, knee pads left. Knee pads famously was that guy Stugotz who would Dan Le Batard and rode Le Batard to some show on Fox. I think he replaced Doug Gottlieb. The new guy is this guy named Mike Ryan, and he's trying really hard. You got to look, hey, Mike, I know what you're doing, baby. You keep trying. So now he's mad. He says that friend of the show, Josh Pate, isn't equipped to interview President Trump. Let me explain that. That says one thing, jealousy. That's all that says. Every year, Chris Ballard, the general manager of the Colts, would come on exclusively with me in Indianapolis. And all the little douchebag writers would say, oh, Dakich isn't equipped. And then we'd have the greatest interview, and it would get picked up everywhere. It was pure jealousy, and that's exactly what's happening here. But what bigger picture, this clown Mike Ryan, he along with Roy Bellamy, are so nondescript, so horrible at their jobs, that I don't even know who the hell they are until I looked them up. But anyway, they're so bad, we make fun of. They've fallen into the Mina Kimes, Dan Le Batard, and Jamel Hill and Ryan Clark. We don't even concern ourselves. We just make fun of them. But let me ask you a question, Davey, to Josh Pate. You'll understand this better than me. What is equipped to interview the president? What does that actually mean? What's the meaning there?
It's a great question, Dan. What I would say in this situation is he's not equipped because he doesn't align with me politically. That's
right. That's right.
I don't know journalists that aren't equipped to interview the president. Like, if you have that opportunity, you're going to take it. And that's the thing with President Trump that I think a lot of people on the left don't understand. He actually wants to resonate with everyday people. So it doesn't matter which socioeconomic class you're in or where you fall in terms of what your job title is. It's like President Trump is giving other people, and Josh is huge in the sports media industry, he's giving pretty much anyone that is asking for that opportunity and he's got the time, he's giving them that chance. And Mike Ryan's just a little bitch, so that's why he's going out and saying this.
Yeah, that's all he is. Yeah, that's a great answer. That's such a good answer. Rack him! Anyway, Dave, Sean, such a good answer. Sean.
Yeah, this bums me out because, one, Mike Ryan and the Le Batard crew pre-2016 used to do technically good sports talk radio. They would do bits, segments, voices. They'd take callers, get creative with the ESPN crew, and then it all fell apart. And it's just become a runaway snowball at the top of the hill of just crazy preaching. It's unlistenable if you are a sports talk radio mark like myself, where you just listen to it, you're like, are you doing this note again? Are you going back? You're attacking Trump again? This is creative for you guys. It's been a huge step down. Good for Pate, who's on the rise, who can find some objectivity and interview a president. I'm happy for him.
All right. I am too. I'm really happy. I'm jealous. I'll be the first to say it. I'm jealous when I saw that. I'm like, why not me? Why not me? But anyway, I did like your answer, though. He's just a bitch. What are you going to do? All right, this hit close to home. Rondale Moore from New Albany, Indiana, played football at Purdue, and he was a great player. Not a good player. He was a great player. He's one of those players that you can't keep your eyes off of, and people remember his game in what we call around here the Trent or the Tyler Trent game. Our friend Tyler Trent, dying of cancer, the number one Purdue fan, basically came deathly ill. It was a Saturday night ESPN prime game against number 2 Ohio State. And Rondale Moore put on a show. Rondale Moore put on the show of shows. And when I learned about Rondale Moore, which was a year earlier as a senior in high school, I learned what a gregarious, fun kid this kid was. And then watching him play football, my God, was he fun. Again, all eyes on me. And what he did that night stands forever in the lore of the Big Ten and certainly in the lore of the all-time greatest performance in Purdue history. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and when the Cleveland Browns I think it was Cleveland, I said, this is a stud, this is a pro, but injuries cost him his career, and he was cut this past year. I believe it was Minnesota. Well, Rondale Moore killed himself, went into his garage and shot himself, allegedly shot himself, died, suicide. And a couple thoughts hit me. Number one, man, oh man, find somebody, get help. Get to a suicide hotline, but it's even more than that. I said this earlier on the show. Well, I don't know if I said this on the show. I said it in the pre-show. You know, the hardest year for an athlete, I experienced it. My wife experienced it. We got my son, my stepson, and my stepdaughter ready for it, is the year you're done playing. When you're in high school and you're done playing, it's really hard for high school kids. Pay attention to them if you have a son or daughter, if they're not going to play in college. Please. Understand, I don't know the answers to everything, but I know this one. It is very, very difficult for kids no longer on a team. You know, many of us that played, many of you that played, I started 7 years old. I was on Mr. Alley's Hot Dogs. My dad lied to get me into a league all the way through college. And my first year out of college, I will never forget. Actually, my first day not on a team was a Sunday. We lost in the NIT championship to Reggie Miller. Came back, had a meeting, went home. Came back the next day into the same locker room that I had been a 2-year captain of, a 4-year player. Been there every day, all summers too, for the most part. Felt out of place. Felt weird. I'll never forget that feeling. Walking to the trainer's room, I didn't belong. It was very, very odd. And I really struggled with it. And I found out others struggled with it. How did I handle it? I don't know. I was a grad assistant, and then I didn't know what to do. So I'd go to Nick's, drink beers almost every night. I joke, I got my mail there. But the reason I was there was because I could not handle no longer having a place. Rondale Moore had just been gotten cut. He no longer had a place in his mind. You can talk about, yes, he had a loving family. You can talk about what a wonderful kid he was to his mother, but he didn't have a place. And for a young athlete, this is impossible sometimes. My son went through it, but I prepared him. I talked to him. In fact, I went and got my son during COVID. I said, you're not staying home in this apartment by yourself. You're coming with us. I will stay in this apartment with you. I drove to Columbus, but I know he wouldn't tell me. He didn't act like it, but I know. So he got in the car, thanked me, hugged me, cried, thank you. My stepdaughter played at Harvard, same thing. My stepson, same thing. Understand if your son or daughter is an athlete. Understand when they are done. When I was done in high school, I was going to college. Didn't affect me. Other things. But when I was done in college, or when you're done playing in the NFL, or you're done playing in high school and you don't have a college, pay attention. Sean, did you experience anything like that, having been a college football player?
Yeah, it was freaky. It freaked me out having to turn into a real person. And you're walking around, you're like, wow, what am I doing a bear crawl for? What am I putting all this weight on the squat rack for? It changes everything when you don't have, or at least me personally, didn't have something like that to go to. Maybe that's why I chose this industry, because it's a constant carrot in front of me that I can keep chasing. But I've seen teammates that didn't handle it well and they disappear, and you're like, wow, that guy is going through it. You see some that succeed. They're like, okay, I was ready to do this. I wanted to be in investment finance, and I'm in it, and I've started my real person life. But for the most part, most athletes I know are still just figuring it out, still trying to learn how to be a real person. College guys, high school guys, you kind of figure it out, but college guys, it's really weird having to like deal sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And that's, like I can't solve everybody's problems because I don't know everybody, but I know that problem. Dave, you got anything?
Guys, my playing career ended in high school, but, it's one of those things where I feel for Rondale Moore's family because the injury just took a toll on him to the point we didn't realize it until this past weekend. And it just is one of those things, whenever you are struggling, I know it can be hard to ask for help and you feel like there's no one there for you, but I promise you there is. And so if you are struggling, please reach out, please seek help.
One of the things that, to your point, Davey, when I heard Rondale Moore was dead, I didn't hear how. My first thought was a suicide. And I hate this because now whenever I hear a young person has died, if it's not, reported in a crash, perfectly healthy, I immediately go to suicide. And I swear I never did that, which tells me that this is so prevalent that it can't become common. It cannot. And it needs to be spoken out on. And people need to understand there are ways, whether it's prevention hotlines, whether it's as a guy. Like, I love masculinity, and part of being masculine, in my opinion, is crying. Part of being masculine is sitting there bawling, opening up, telling somebody, your mom, your dad, I don't care. And I've had these talks with my kids over and over and over and over and over again, and I won't stop till I'm dead. Because it hit me. I was at Andrew's game. A couple buddies of mine text me, hey, Dan, did you see Rondale Moore died? And before I even looked it up, I thought suicide, which tells me this is getting way, way, way too common. So you know what? I'm with you, Davey. Rest in peace, Rondale Moore. And hopefully his family at some point, obviously not now, but at some point can find some type of closure, some type of happiness. Mike Tirico has elevated himself from the best broadcaster around, or one of, to the absolute best broadcaster on the planet, and nobody that knows him is surprised. Mike Tirico has always been a diligent worker. Mike Tirico has always been a guy that is uber prepared. You do not have to tell Mike Tirico anything because Mike Tirico knows it before you do, and that's whether you are the guy in the truck, that's the producer, the director, the graphics guy, whoever. He knows, he watches, he studies, he gets on conference calls. When we worked in the Big Ten, he would spend 3 hours listening to every single coach on a conference call and take notes on every one of them. It was an honor to work with Mike. I remember the first time I worked with Mike Tirico, he had on a Monday called the Alabama route of Notre Dame in the National Football Championship game. Tuesday was a shoot-around in East Lansing. We were doing the Michigan State-Louisville game for Super Tuesday. Myself, the producer, the director, Bart Fox, and Scott Johnson walk into the shoot-around early. Who's already there? Mike Tirico, ready to introduce himself and join our team, and join it he did. It was the best team in the history of college basketball. It was myself, Mike Tirico, Allison Williams, the great Scott Johnson, the great Bart Fox, and the legendary Scott Johnson. That's how I always described it. And it became a show of shows, and it became friendships for life. We had a Last Supper at Iowa, where I still don't believe this. Mike said, hey, everybody get there early on a Monday night. We were doing a Tuesday game. I knew something was up. We had a booth, a round table. I put the picture out. I should have given it to Davey and Adam. I'm sorry. Mike told us ESPN was not trying to re-sign him, and this would be the last. We had a game right here. Tariq's in the back, the great Bart Fox. I don't know why we're holding phones, but we are. Oh, to get lighting in the car. I had no shirt on because it was hot as these nuts. And after peeing outside, trying to pee on Mike, but he jumped in the car real quick outside of the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, we hopped in the car and drove to Indianapolis. Next thing you know, we were doing from the Horizon League, we were doing the Big Ten tournament. Had a blast. We stopped, and I bought more candy than these two had ever seen. But you can see the smiles on our faces. Just a freaking blast. Mike and all of us would come to our house in Indy whenever he was in town. We played golf one time with Mike having a headphone in his ear. Mike and I took on Bart and Scott in a two-man golf match at Broadmoor here in Indy. And Mike played the entire back nine on a conference call, the most important conference call for the Indianapolis 500, which he was getting ready to host 2 days from then. He he two-putted from about 45 feet while talking to whoever was running the meeting, and we won the money. And then when we sat down, the first thing he looked at and said was, let's have a beer. Who's paying? That's a dude. That's a dude's dude. And all of us are so happy. We're all so thrilled that worked with Mike. People that worked way before Mike are happy. But I had the opportunity of a lifetime to work with Mike. Mike had a famous line to me, Dan, I love working with you, but you make me too comfortable. That's what you're talking about. He said, you make me too comfortable. He said, I think I'm going to say something really stupid because I get too don't make us get fired was always his line to me. And then we would pick. I'd say, Tariq's, what's the line tonight? I would go on our website, and he always had it nailed. Great work, my friend. And it ain't over yet. I think Mike Tirico's just getting started. Get him. Get him. He said to me one time, last thing, I said on the air to him, we were at Michigan State, and I said, man, you were at somewhere last night. When do you sleep? And his answer was perfect. Dan, I sleep when you're talking. See you tomorrow.